Hello, it is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023 at 10:09 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. This is Mitch Miller. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. And today I'm not going to talk about Anticore today. I'll probably talk about that tomorrow, since I did explain Anticore on a video conference call with my therapist, Maureen Callan. That's probably protected by HIPAA, but who knows what the pharmaceutical companies and the government has their hands into. So if you want to hear more about Anticore, look for that video conference call. Maybe on the way from Florida to Pittsburgh, it ended up in some servers on some military bases. Who knows? Anyway, today I'm going to talk about my investigations into white-collar crime a little bit. Basically, the method I used, because I called the FBI and wanted to report some white-collar crime, but then it occurred to me that I was using a smartphone or a cell phone that could be hacked. So when you hit dial whatever to report white-collar crime on the FBI hotline, who's to say that a bunch of corporate executives aren't listening to that conversation? And that's what I said to the FBI operator when I called multiple times. And they informed me that I could go into the FBI field office and just walk in without making an appointment. Because I said, if I make an appointment, what if their FBI mole, the Johnson & Johnson FBI mole, is in that field office at that appointment? If I make an appointment, they can see when I'm going to be there. So I did randomly walk in there and try to discuss some things with the FBI back in 2016. But on that thought process, how do you investigate white-collar crime without using your cell phone, mobile phone that could be hacked or tagged or tracked? So I used the pay phones, the pay telephones on the University of Pittsburgh campus. A lot of the time I used the one in the Carnegie Main Library, but there are some in the Towers dormitory and also in the William Penn Union, where my wife now works. So a few times I used those phones to call pharmaceutical companies while I was investigating, to call their hotlines, to call their oversight situations, and try to figure out if pharmaceutical companies were maintaining databases that showed physician payments. So in the course of those investigations, I had multiple investigations going in 2016. Every time I turned a corner, I thought, oh, here's another investigation I could do. So one thing, and this comes back to the pornography, the government issue pornography. One thing I did, I said I use mainly magazines since 2013 or 2014 for pornography. I did purchase a new magazine over the period of that time, and it was a Penthouse magazine, and a DVD with video came on it, with pornographic video came with it. I resisted using that for a very long time because I figured they can hack your smart TVs through your DVD player. That could throw up a beacon, and then they could hack your TV. So I resisted, but eventually I did watch the pornography just to spice it up a little bit, and I assumed it all came from Up and Up. It wasn't sex slavery that was used in the making of it, but you don't know, even though it's Penthouse, a reputable company. I watched a video about ironically, a house painter and the owner's daughter seducing him. But there are two other videos for free on this DVD, but then there's another whole section of the DVD that you can pay extra to get a special code that you input to access other videos on the DVD. And there's an 800 number on that DVD that you call you assume Penthouse to put in your credit card information and get the access code to access the rest of the DVD. So I've looked into 1-800 numbers from just about every facility that I've been locked into. And I even submitted a form through the FBI reporting website that you can report things to the FBI. Submitted a thing with about 800 numbers and medical devices. There was an 800 number for medical device provider, wheelchairs and whatnot. They had an 800 number for contact and an 800 number for faxing, and I thought that was suspicious. Mainly I wanted the FBI to look into 800 numbers in general. So, you know, I assume that I'm being, as you could tell from any of my communications, I assume I'm being tracked or monitored by, at the very minimum, supercomputers that are interested in me and my movements and what I do, but quite possibly the government, actual people, analysts, and things like that. So I like to try to do some things that are very hard to track, like using payphones on the University of Pittsburgh campus. How are you going to narrow that down and track it? But I don't think those payphones are getting a lot of use, so it can be assumed. But the point I'm getting to is about the 800 number on my pornographic DVD. While I was doing these investigations at different phones, I thought, I'll try calling that 800 number. So I called it from the university, or from the Carnegie Main Library payphone. I called that 800 number, the Penthouse 800 number, in the afternoon, on a Eastern time on a regular weekday, and that 800 number took me to a prompt system where you hit 1 to do this, hit 2 to do that, hit 3 to do that, or it was either that or an error code. Either the number didn't work or it took me through a prompt system to eventually probably put my credit card number in and get the access code. I didn't do any of the prompts, but there was a menu with prompts. So on another day, or it might have been the same day, in the afternoon, I was at the payphones at Towers Dormitory at the University of Pittsburgh, which there may not even be a payphone there now, but back in 2016 there was. I made a call to a pharmaceutical company, and then I made the call to the 800 number, or vice versa. I might have called the Penthouse 800 number, then did some pharmaceutical investigating, or maybe not at all, but it shouldn't matter. I called the 800 number, the Penthouse 800 number, and it did not go to an error message or a prompting system. A person actually picked up. So a person picked up the phone, said hello. I don't think they said this is Penthouse, blah, blah, blah. They just said, how can I help you, or something like that. So I might have asked them a couple questions, and then I hung up. The point I'm making here is that with this government issue pornography program I proposed, you may think it's not important that you can protect people's devices from online streaming. You could mandate, hey, you have to go get actual DVDs if you want to see video. Or you can't mandate it, but you could suggest they get a DVD, suggest they get a magazine. But this profiling, this tracking, and this intervention of pornography goes way beyond just internet hackers and trollers thinking that that's fair game. Somebody's doing something subversive, so now I can hack their device. It could go back to the 800 numbers and the system back when it was just DVDs before the internet, whereby if I call from this phone, I'm taken to the prompt, or if I'm called from a phone in a dormitory, it diverts to a different call center or a different user of the 800 number, where they can then get, hypothetically, a student's dad's credit card number or the student's credit card number. They could blackmail the father of the student and say, you used your credit card for pornography. They could blackmail the student. They could gather information on students, their parents, and things like that, just through a DVD 1-800 number prompt. So that's why this is important, because there is no alternative, and it is a fundamental need for most people to express their hormones that their body naturally produces in some manner. It leads to good prostate health and health issues with people. So mental release, mentally balancing your hormones. So it is a necessity, and I think that my proposed program is a good one. I just wanted to give you insight into my investigations. You're not safe just getting a DVD that you assume is from a reputable company like Penthouse that doesn't use sex slaves. It's the whole industry is corrupt and corruptible and could be hacking your smart televisions for putting the DVD in, hacking your phone for calling the 800 number, gathering information on you, and using it to blackmail or do other things with your credit scores and your credit cards. Right? Why would two payphones, assumedly managed by the same telephone company, lead to two different types of prompts with the same exact 800 number? So that's why. And the other thing with the government issued 5,000 images of government produced or contracted pornography is that you can give that USB to a government employee, and you could say, look, other than utilizing magazines, here are these images, and if there's 5,000 or 10,000 images on there, and we'll come out with another round of it in a year. But if you can't satiate your need with that many images, we don't want to employ you with the federal, state, or local government any longer. We're not only not going to protect your devices and your internet network in your house if you go outside of these images. We no longer want to employ you if you cannot control your urges to the degree that you have to seek additional stimulation outside of this. It's just it's just we want to end the employment if that's the case. So the 800 numbers. So what I'm going to do today, I am about to walk to the University of Pittsburgh campus. I have to deposit something, and I'm gonna walk to the Towers lobby, the Towers dormitory lobby, see if there's still a payphone there. If there is, I'm going to deposit the 75 cents and call my house phone. So you'll be able to see on my Magic Jack landline whatever number pops up when I call from that payphone. And then I'm going to dial the 800 number for the Penthouse DVD, which is spinning in my DVD player right now. I'm going to pull up that 800 number. I'm going to take a picture of it on my camera phone, on my smartphone, so that I can then dial that in and see what prompts when I call the 800 number from that payphone, if there is even still a payphone there. So that's the plan. Again, I have multiple investigations started. I do the communication, the actual manual dialing things in, and I assume that supercomputers that want to track me and figure out what I'm trying to do are doing the legwork investigations into the ones I started. And if I'm put into a government position, maybe those investigations will produce themselves. Maybe there are hacker networks that would produce evidence as to certain things if they knew they could trust somebody in the government that's not just going to ignore it, like the FBI has, like multiple other government agencies have, and look into white-collar crime like it needs to be looked into. Again, I come with multiple investigations started, so I don't see why the FBI or some agency doesn't hire me to work out of the FBI field office here in Pittsburgh. But we're going to keep going on the local level, challenge Russia from the local level, and I'm waiting for the Ukrainian government or the United States government to step up and assist in contacting and bringing peace to the Ukraine-Russian conflict, and any dissenters from the Russian military and so forth to challenge their superiors to wrestling matches and things like that. So we'll see what happens. All I can do is work with what I have. So hopefully 2 county commissioners, a Republican and a Democrat, is enough. And we still have to wait until November to see if Ken wins the thing. But multiple programs, multiple investigations. Still, I am making $13,000 a year off Social Security disability, which I think is going to have to be reinvestigated again in another month or so, because I think it's been 6 years since I initially applied for it. Every 3 years I come up for review. So we'll see if I get even approved for that stipend going forward for the next 3 years. I'd like to be compensated or gainfully employed and not have to rely on that. But we'll see what happens. The powers that be don't seem to want to act, and as I said, most of them are cowards that hide behind computers in their offices. I called out the military, and now it's time to call out the leadership. You're cowards, and you can come challenge me anytime you want. Thanks for watching. Join me tomorrow when I talk about Anticore.